Hey, welcome back. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unexplained Archive. You know, living in New York, you get used to the idea that every square inch of land has been mapped, claimed, and built upon. There's no mystery under the pavement. But what if I told you that just a few hundred miles northeast of here, on a tiny, unassuming island off the coast of Nova Scotia, there's a hole in the ground that has consumed fortunes, broken lives, and defied every logical explanation for over 2 centuries. A hole that people have died trying to explore. A hole that whispers a promise of unimaginable treasure, guarded by a labyrinth of ingenious, deadly traps. This is the story of the Oak Island Money Pit, and it might just be the world's most elaborate and heartbreaking mystery. The story begins, as the best ones do, with a discovery made by a teenager. In 1795, a young man named Daniel McGinnis was wandering on Oak Island when he came across a peculiar circular depression in the ground. Above it, hanging from an old oak tree, a tree that's long gone now, was a worn ship's pulley. It looked like someone had been lifting something heavy out of that hole, or lowering something in. Daniel, being a sensible and curious teenager, went and got 2 friends, and they started to dig. What they found was a sequence of man-made layers that would become the stuff of legend. Every 10 feet, they hit a platform of solid oak logs, embedded into the walls of the shaft. They kept digging, but eventually, they had to admit they needed more resources, more men. They had no idea they'd just scratched the surface of a monumental puzzle, because that was just the prologue. Over the next several decades, as new syndicates and treasure hunters took up the quest, the true complexity and the menace of the money pit revealed itself. When diggers broke through those oak platforms, they found layers of charcoal, a strange putty-like substance, and even coconut fiber, a material not native to Canada, hinting at a tropical origin. But the real kicker, the moment that transformed this from a simple dig into a legendary trap, came in 1804. A group called the Onslow Company was digging down, and around the 90-foot mark, their crowbar struck something solid. Not rock, wood, another platform, but this one was different. When they pried it up the next day, they found the shaft below them was flooded. Seawater. And no matter how they tried to bail it out, the water level wouldn't drop. They'd hit the first booby trap. This wasn't an accident. Someone had engineered this. Later excavations discovered a magnificent, terrifying feat of ancient engineering. A 500-foot-long flood tunnel, cleverly dug on a gentle slope from the beach to the bottom of the money pit. It was a man-made aquifer. The moment someone breached that critical depth, the tunnel would fill the pit with seawater from the ocean. It was a permanent safeguard. Think about the mind that designed that. Over 200 years ago, this wasn't just someone burying a chest. This was someone creating a permanent hydraulic lock. And that's when the heartbreak truly began. Because every generation since has believed they could outsmart it. The 19th century is a parade of tragic figures and bankrupt companies. There's the Truro Company, which in 1849 used a pod auger, a giant drill, to probe below the flood level. The drill brought up snippets of chain, links of gold, and, most tantalizingly, a small piece of parchment with the letters 6 visible. Parchment, deep in a waterlogged hole. The treasure felt inches away. They tried to bypass the flood tunnels by digging a second, parallel shaft. That shaft collapsed, and the first man to die in the money pit, a worker named Maynard Kaiser, fell to his death. The pattern was set, a hint of glory, followed by engineering failure, financial ruin, and sometimes death. The 20th century brought more technology and even bigger dreams. Franklin Delano Roosevelt was an avid follower and even helped fund an expedition. Then came the Restall family in the 1960s. Robert Restall moved his entire family to the island, living in a shack for years, convinced he was close. In 1965, Robert, his son, and 2 other workers were overcome by fumes in a shallow shaft and died. The island had claimed more lives. But the most dramatic chapter came with a man named Dan Blankenship, who dedicated over 50 years of his life to the search. In the 1970s, partnering with a Michigan businessman, they brought in massive machinery. They drilled deep, bringing up bits of porcelain, metal, and even what some claimed was a snippet of human hair. Their most famous find came from a camera lowered into a water-filled cavity. The images were murky, chaotic, but some swore they saw a severed hand, a chest, and even a human body. But like everything at Oak Island, it was inconclusive, a Rorschach test for desperate believers. And that's the core of the mystery, isn't it? The what if. What could possibly be valuable enough to justify such an insane, multi-layered, permanent defense system? The theories are a history lesson in themselves. Pirate treasure? Captain Kidd or Blackbeard? Possible, but this engineering seems beyond a pirate crew's patience. The lost jewels of Marie Antoinette? The original manuscripts of Shakespeare, hidden by Francis Bacon? The Holy Grail or the Ark of the Covenant? My personal favorite, from an engineering standpoint, is the theory that it's a vault holding the original crown jewels of England, hidden after the Great Fire of London. Or that it's a complex depository built by the Knights Templar, who supposedly fled to Nova Scotia with religious relics. Each theory is a story woven from a few tantalizing threads of evidence. A stone with cryptic symbols found deep in the pit, those bits of gold chain, the coconut fiber, and a whole lot of hope. As an engineer and an entrepreneur, I'm fascinated by the duality of this place. On one hand, it's a spectacular engineering puzzle. The flood tunnels, the careful layering, the foresight to protect something for centuries. It speaks to a brilliant, systematic mind. On the other hand, as someone who started ventures and known both risk and failure, I see the money pit as the ultimate metaphor for the sunk cost fallacy. It's a black hole for hope. You invest your money, your time, your youth, your family's safety, because you've already invested so much. The hint of treasure right in front of you makes you ignore the seawater rushing in around your ankles. How many of those men, on their way to bankruptcy or worse, thought to themselves, I can't stop now. I'm so close. The next dig will be the one. I understand that drive. That belief that the next innovation, the next solution, will crack the code. But at what cost? So what's really in the Oak Island money pit? After 200 years, dozens of expeditions, and millions of dollars spent, we still don't know. Modern searchers, featured in popular television shows, continue to find intriguing artifacts, Roman swords, pre-Columbian pottery, more gold fragments, suggesting the island's history is deeply, deeply strange. But the central vault, the legendary treasure chamber, remains elusive. Maybe it was emptied centuries ago. Maybe it collapsed in on itself. Or maybe it's still down there, waiting, protected by the brilliant, cruel ingenuity of its creators. The true treasure of Oak Island may not be gold or jewels. It's the story itself. A story that proves that a simple hole in the ground can become a mirror for our deepest obsessions. It reflects our desire for legend, our faith in engineering, and our heartbreaking willingness to chase a glimmer, even into the dark. It's a permanent monument to the question, what if? Thanks for listening to this episode of the Unexplained Archive. If these deep dives into history's greatest mysteries captivate you, please make sure to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps us keep bringing these stories to you. This is Ibnul J. Farabi for Light Knot Studios. Visit us at lightknotstudios.com. Until next time, keep wondering.